Assalamu alaikum dear students. Let's discuss how do we factorize quadratic algebraic expressions by middle term breaking. So let's consider an example in which we got a quadratic expression. For example, x square minus 7x plus 12. So that is an algebraic expression, quadratic algebraic expression, and the reason is the degree of the expression is 2, or the power of the variable, the maximum power of the variable in this expression is 2. So this is a quadratic algebraic expression. So in order to factorize this expression, we know that we have to write this expression in terms of the lowest powers of the variable y, of the variable x. So I'm going to explain you a few rules here, and you need to remember that. And the first step that you have to take is you have to multiply the first term with the last term. So if this expression is written in descending order, then you have to multiply the first term with the last term, and you got 12x here. So you can write it separately here, 12x here. Now you have to make factors of 12 in such a way that if you add or subtract those two factors, you should obtain the middle term of this expression, which is minus 7x. And the second condition that you have to fulfill is those factors should be such that if you multiply those two factors, you should obtain the product of first term and the last term, which is 12x squared. So these are the two conditions which you have to fulfill. So let's start dividing this number 12 by 2. So 2 times 6 is 12. Now just compare, or if 2 and 6, if we add these or if we subtract these, are we going to get the middle term? So in this case the answer is no, because 2 plus 6 is 8, 2 minus 6 is minus 4, or 6 minus 2 is 4. So we are not getting the middle term of this algebraic expression, which is minus 7x. So we will continue further. So we know that 6 is also divisible by 2, so it goes by 2. 2 times 3 is 6. Now we are going to check randomly here. 2 2s are 4, 4 and 3. So we know that 4 and 3, their sum is 7. So this fulfills our first condition. So I'm going to write here the first condition, which is fulfilled here. If we write a negative sign with 4x and another negative sign with the 3x, so this will be simplified as minus 7x. So our first condition is fulfilled, that we have obtained two factors of minus 7x, and these are minus 4x and minus 3x. If we simplify these, we are going to get minus 7x. But we also have to check if our second condition is fulfilled or not. And as earlier I told you that the second condition you have to look at is if you multiply those two factors, you should obtain the product of extreme values of the expression. So in this case, if you multiply these two factors, you are going to get 12x here. And if you check here, yes, if we multiply the first term x squared with the last term of this expression, which is 12, so we got 12x squared. So both the conditions are fulfilled. So this means that minus 7x can be broken down into minus 4x and minus 3x. So once again, you need to remember that you have to get two factors of the middle term in such a way that if you simplify those two factors, you should obtain the middle term, and if you multiply those two, you should get the product of the extreme values. So in the next slide, I am going to split the 7x minus 7x minus 4x minus 3x, and the last term is to be written as it is. So there is no difference between this step and the previous step, because in this step I have broken down minus 7x as minus 4x and minus 3x, because if you simplify these two, you are going to get minus 7x once again. So there is no difference between this step and the previous step. Now in the next step, what we have to do is very simple. From the first pair, means x squared minus 4x, you have to think what could be taken common outside the bracket. So x is a factor of both the terms, so x can be taken common outside. So from the first term, x is left because 1 has been taken out, and from the second one, as x has been taken out, so 4 is left from the second term. Now you have to think the last pair, the last two terms. Once again, 3 is a factor of both the terms, so minus 3 can be taken common outside, and within the brackets, from this third term we are left with x, and as a negative sign is there outside the bracket, so this is going to change the sign inside the bracket, so this will turn into a negative sign. And 3 times 4 we know is 12, so we have to write 4 here, and we are going to close the bracket. Now in the last step, what we have to do, we can once again we have to look for some common term here. So you can see x minus 4 is common between these two terms, so this x minus 4 and x minus 4 in the second term is common, so we can take x minus 4 common once again outside the bracket, and from this very first term within the bracket we are left with x, and from the second term we are left with minus 3. So this is how we have made factors of the given quadratic algebraic expression. And if you want to verify, if you multiply these two factors, x minus 4 and x minus 3, you are going to get your question once again means you are, if you multiply these two, you are going to get x squared minus 7x plus 12. So this way you can also verify if your factors are okay, if these are correct or not.